in terms of the current institutions, the fastest way to change anything is businesses. They can decide to do a different policy overnight and things start changing. But the activists that want to believe the left wing values of taking care of everybody and having it be a fair playing field, but then, that's where we want to reach. The high ground of the left is that. The low ground is that we're going to enforce it on people that don't quite understand yet and think of them as greedy, but so we have to get a government to make them do things. And I'm reiterating so much. And the right wing, the high ground is we have to do things for real and make these resources actual. Now, the low ground of the right is we only have to take care of ourselves and our family, and everything else can fall into place. Well, we have to be responsible on a greater level, but it does have to start with the foundation that the right is suggesting. So the fact that the left got stopped politically in the United States, and that we have 3 years of possibly new ventures or expanding of old ventures, and they're trying to bring back industrialization and production and all that. And if we just keep it in those old boxes, first of all, that's going to happen. It's all just going to happen. And what I'm talking about is what a vanguard can do to start creating models. I want to be clear because people might think I'm imagining some things that could never happen. I'm imagining some things that could happen on a local scale and in virtual world as well. Now AI can possibly describe what would happen if we started, contextualizing people's jobs and businesses. I think, as I say, I think the way to do it is in a two. How do you get there gradually? How do you get there at all? Uh, because the left wing approach would be to, decide we need to enforce certain values, and that's what's going on. That is what is happening. That's going to continue to happen. But now there's all this deregulation, and the left is freaking out. Well, what about the left people with left-wing values getting involved in some of these new ventures and informing them on the ground of the intrinsic need to do it right and be good with the greater ecologies, both of the environment and the planet and the biodiversities, which have to be sustained, and also the fact that you want to be the ecology of human is community. That's where it makes sense. Uh, the idea that we want to bring it back to a co-op ownership class, and it could be done in the market sort of incrementally as it becomes possible. But if people understand that it needs to happen really quickly, uh, because things are going to start falling out from under us in the next 10 to 20, at the most 30 years, if nothing changes. And things aren't going to change right away, the way I'm saying, but they need to start creating models and visualizations now, this year. And there's a chance, if the right people understand the urgency of this, but also that we can calmly get to some solutions that might work and they need to be explained, but you can only explain so much to get them started because they're complex. Uh, the idea of having a more organic relationship to your resources and economy through actual businesses and affiliations with co-op ownership networks. That's kind of a complicated proposition. And right now, people are going to work at General Dollar, let's say, or Walmart. And Walmart has the option to just get what they're doing now. So the idea is you can splinter off an internal secondary economy that comes towards the co-op thing. And there's a bottleneck in that there's no real businesses that are doing that. So to start that, I mean, because you can get people thinking that would be a great idea. Where do I go to sign up? And there isn't any place to sign up. So there's also the possibility that there's things we could do just as if consumer unions, purchasing collectives, and other interest groups that start to, but so local, on the ground, accessible solutions and options. So there's a lot of things that could be more enthusiastically embraced that would make a big difference if people understood that we need to move to community, and these events that bring us closer together are not just entertainment. They're the meaning of who we are. And if we could also start arranging our economics in that way, then we understand we're not beholden to elites. And the elites aren't going away with what they're doing, but they can eventually have to understand that they're consumer, what used to be like random consumers, are now being informed organically from their own self-interest with options that I guess you could, the easiest place to start is with the consumer purchasing collective thing, informing that. And now, whoever you are as a producer, you have to adapt to an informed consumer. You could save on advertising and put that into real research and really explaining. And then for whole industries to stop competing against each other, so you have to have false advertising, the idea of guilds bringing businesses together. So and working as allies and sharing the workload so that that particular function is handled uh, in a way that everybody can respect. And so they have, for example, roofers, and all the roofs are fixed, and now they can all take a big break and still be welcome somehow in the context of that they're fulfilling that function in a greater context of community, with all the functions being handled up front as a priority, providing instead of profit.